scriptures and understand the essence. It's not possible. So Krishna has made our work very simple. You don't have to study the entire Vedas. You simply understand this conversation of mine with Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Therefore, Bhagavad-gita is the essence. Just like the Vedas, mostly the Vedas are karma kanda. Karma kanda means the Vedas describe the rituals like yajnas and various vratas, and it promises that one who performs these rituals will get material rewards. So this is called karma kanda. So karma kanda division of the Vedic scriptures talk about various rituals recommended to enhance one's material conditions. They also promise promotion to heavenly kingdoms where one can enjoy a greater degree of material sense gratification. But at the conclusion of the karma kanda, it is very clearly explained that simply being ritualistic, working very hard for attaining material sense enjoyment is not the purpose of the Vedas. It's not the purpose of human form of life also. Therefore, the scriptures then direct the seeker to the Jnana Kanda portion of the Vedic scriptures. The Jnana Kanda portion talks about the difference between body and soul and the relationship between the soul and the super soul, and talks about higher realms of knowledge beyond material sense enjoyment. So, there is the Vedas and then there are Upanishads. Upanishads fall under which category? Jnana Kanda. So, Jnana Kanda is the beginning of spiritual knowledge. 99% of the Vedic scriptures are Karma Kanda. Because 99% of the people in this world are all karmis. They want to work hard, they're hankering for sense enjoyment. But as Krishna says in the Bhagavad-gita, Bahunam Janmanam Ante Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate. One who actually understands the futility of material enjoyment, he can appreciate the Upanishadic knowledge. So in the same way, Mahabharata, the major portion of the Mahabharata can be compared to the Karma Kanda. Because in Mahabharata also there is glorification of various kinds of rituals, rules and regulations for material enjoyment. But then, towards the end of Mahabharata, not exactly towards the end, maybe after 50% of Mahabharata, the essence of Mahabharata is Gita Upanishad. It is the Bhagavad-gita. So therefore, Bhagavad-gita, Prabhupada explains very interestingly, Mahabharata, it appears to be a political warfare. It talks mainly about politics between two family members, the Kauravas and the Pandavas. And people in this world are very interested to know political matters. So they start reading Mahabharata for getting political, how did the Kauravas and Pandavas fight? What led to the fight? How the fight actually happened? And how the Pandavas were successful in getting their rightful claim. All these things are described. So people are interested, they will read. While they are reading Mahabharata, very intelligently, Vyasadeva has included the Bhagavad-gita in between. So that while they are so much interested to read the political warfare, in between they are getting the spiritual enlightenment. This is a very interesting strategy employed by Vyasadeva. People will come to Mahabharata for material reasons, but they will also take bath in the Ganga water of Bhagavad-gita. In the Gita Mahatmya it is also said, just like Ganga river is emanating from the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, and anybody who takes bath in the Ganga river, they become purified. because of its connection with the lotus feet of the Lord. There is one more Ganga which is coming from the lotus mouth of the Supreme Lord, and that is Bhagavad-gita. Simply by taking a dip in this Bhagavad-gita, Ganga, one can immediately become purified. Whereas, if one wants to derive benefit from taking bath in Ganga river, one has to take bath repeatedly in Ganga river to actually get purified. But with Bhagavad-gita, once a person takes a dip in this holy Ganga river, which is flowing from the mouth of Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna, Bhagavad-gita, such a person becomes at once purified of all material conceptions. It is also said, Gita dhyayana shilasya pranayama parasya cha naina santi. It is said, if one takes up this Bhagavad-gita study very carefully, seriously, then one's sinful reactions of his many past lives will not act upon such a person. Simply if one takes up the study of Bhagavad-gita seriously. And Prabhupada writes in the beginning of Bhagavad-gita that one must study Bhagavad-gita with the help of a devotee of the Lord without any ill-motivated interpretations, personal interpretations. One should not study Bhagavad-gita through personal interpretations, but one should study the Bhagavad-gita with the help of a pure devotee of the Lord. See, if one takes up the study of Gita-upanishad in this way, Bhagavad-gita, then one can become free from the reactions of his past sinful activities. So that is the speciality of studying Bhagavad-gita. So during this 1 month of Gita Jayanti, not only we should distribute Bhagavad-gitas, we should also study Bhagavad-gita. And Prabhupada said, we should study Bhagavad-gita scrutinizingly. Scrutinizingly means deeply, not just surface level. We should try to get into the content, the subject matter described, and with seriousness one should study. In fact, if one studies Bhagavad-gita as it is, one will get the same knowledge and realization that Arjuna got by hearing to Krishna directly. That is the speciality of Bhagavad-gita as it is. And also, Prabhupada says Bhagavad-gita is the preliminary study of the science of Krishna consciousness. Preliminary, basics, ABC. If one wants to know the ABC of spirituality, he has to begin with Bhagavad-gita. And that is why Bhagavad-gita is such an important book. So many great acharyas have commented upon it. Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya. So many great acharyas have written commentaries on Bhagavad-gita to explain Bhagavad-gita. So therefore, Bhagavad-gita study is very, very important for a devotee. And Krishna himself says in the Bhagavad-gita, those who study this Bhagavad-gita, they are worshipping me with their intelligence. Just like if you have the deity of Krishna, you can worship the deity with flowers, fruits, you can perform arati. These are the ways to worship Krishna in his deity form. Now, there are different other forms of worshipping. And here is one example. Just like we chant Hare Krishna mantra, how do we worship the Hare Krishna mantra? By chanting and hearing. In the same way, how to worship Bhagavad-gita? By scrutinizingly studying the Bhagavad-gita. By studying Bhagavad-gita properly, using one's intelligence, applying one's intelligence to understand the subject matter covered in this sacred conversation between Krishna and Arjuna, one is actually worshipping Krishna with his intelligence. Now, there are different ways, different perspectives with which we can study Bhagavad-gita. One can study Bhagavad-gita, by this one way of studying it is you can classify each shloka of Bhagavad-gita into 3 categories. Sambandha Jnana, Abhidheya Jnana and Prayojana Jnana. Sambandha means our relationship with Krishna. Sambandha Jnana means who am I? Who is God? What is my relationship with God? All those verses of Bhagavad-gita which cover these topics, they come under Sambandha Jnana. Like for example, Krishna says, Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yavvanam chara. So this is an example for Sambandha Jnana. Here, Krishna is revealing that we are not the Deha, the body, but we are Asmin Dehe. Inside this body, we are present, we are called soul within the body. And the body goes through changes, and finally, the final change is called death. And a self-realized soul is not bewildered by such a change. This is an example for Sambandha Jnana. Krishna says, Pitaham asya jagataha mata dhata pitamaha. Krishna says, I am the father, the mother, the support, the grandsire of this entire material existence. This is another example for Sambandha Jnana. Krishna's relationship with us, with all the living entities in this material world. He is our Pita, father. This is an example for Sambandha Jnana verse. Then there is Abhidheya Jnana. Abhidheya means the process of devotional service. How to practice this process of devotional service to attain perfection. This is called Abhidheya Jnana. So Krishna says in the Bhagavad-gita 10th chapter verse number 8, he says, Aham sarvasya prabhavaha mattaha sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante ma buddha bhava samanvitaha. Krishna says, I am the source of everything that exists. Both material and spiritual worlds have emanated from me. The wise who know this very well about me, they engage wholeheartedly in my devotional service. This is an example for Abhidheya. So Krishna is, of course, it is a combination of both Sambandha and Abhidheya. Krishna is saying everything is coming from me. So Sambandha Jnana is there. But what is the application of knowing that everything belongs to Krishna? To engage in his devotional service. Right? So, this is an example for Abhidheya Jnana. There is another verse where Krishna says that Mahatmanastu mam partha daivim prakriti ashritaha bhajantyalanya manaso jnatva bhutadim avyayam. Krishna says, the great souls, the Mahatmas, who are under the protection of my divine energy, what do? They engage in my devotional service, ananya manasaha, with unwavering devotional service. They engage in my devotional service. Bhajanti, they engage in my service. Right? So these are examples for Abhidheya, the process. There's another verse in the 10th chapter where Krishna says, my pure devotees, bodhayantha parasparam namasyantascha mam bhaktya nitya yukta upasate. What is the first line of that shloka? First line. First line. No. So Krishna says that my devotees, what do? They converse about me with each other. Their thoughts dwell in me. And they take great pleasure in enlightening each other about me. This is an example for Abhidheya Jnana. Yes, Madchitta Madgata Prana Bodhayantha Parasparam Namasyantascha Mam Bhaktya Nitya Yukta Upasate. So here Krishna is talking about the process of devotional service. How the devotees engage in bhakti, that is described. So this is an example for Abhidheya Jnana Shloka. Then there is a third category called as Prayojana Jnana. Prayojana means the ultimate perfection. The ultimate perfection of life. What is the ultimate perfection of life? To simply be engaged in devotional service to the Lord. In the 18th chapter of Bhagavad-gita, Krishna says that Krishna says, Brahma bhuta prasannatma na shochati na kankshati samas sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labhate param. This is an example for Prayojana Jnana. What is the ultimate perfection that is awaiting us when we engage in Krishna consciousness? Krishna explains that. You come to the Brahma Bhuta platform. That means you come to the liberated platform. And in that Brahma Bhuta platform, there are no more hankerings, no more material desires. no more lamentation. You see everybody with an equal vision, and there you engage in loving devotional service to the Lord. So, ultimate perfection of life, prayojana, is to engage in loving devotional service to the Lord. And Krishna also says in the same 18th chapter, Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vaishyasi satyam te pratijane priyosime. Krishna says, always think of me, become my devotee, engage in my service, and offer your respects unto me. By doing this, what will happen? You will come back to me. I promise you, because you are very dear to me. The highest perfection is to return back to Godhead, back to Krishna. This is an example for prayojana jnana. So this is one way of studying Bhagavad-gita. Every shloka that you come across, you can keep classifying whether it is abhideya, prayojana, sambandha, or it is a combination of two or more of these aspects. So it's a very interesting way to study. Right? Of course, the first time when you are studying, you should study verse by verse fully. Now when you are reading second time, third time, there are different perspectives you can apply and study. Second time you can study like this, Sambandha, Avideya, Prayojana. Right? This is one example. Now what we are going to do in the next 3 sessions, starting today, is we are going to study the analogies in Bhagavad-gita. Analogies means examples. Correct? Now, why analogies are so important? Analogy means to something. Suppose a very abstract concept has to be explained, which is not easily understandable. To explain an abstract concept, when an example that is connected with our daily life and experience is given, such a methodology of teaching is called analogy. Right? So, something which we cannot relate with in our present day life is compared with something which we can relate with. Right? And through that example which we can relate with, an abstract concept is explained. That is called analogy. So what does an analogy do? An analogy helps us see the unseeable. What we cannot see and experience immediately through our senses, that becomes easily understandable through an analogy. Correct? And analogies are very special, powerful devices which are used by great acharyas, including Krishna in the Bhagavad-gita, to explain spiritual concepts. Through analogy, things become easy to understand and things also become easy to remember. Many a times we remember the example. We may forget the original concept. But through the example, it becomes easy to recall or recollect the philosophical point. So analogy helps us in memory retention. It helps us to remember things better. It also helps us to connect with, relate. The philosophy that Krishna is speaking in the Bhagavad-gita is not something alien to us, not something disconnected to us. It is very much connected to what we are experiencing in this world in our daily life. So analogies are very, very good tools to explain philosophy, to preach Krishna consciousness, and to also remember the concepts in Krishna consciousness. Apart from many analogies that Krishna himself uses in the Bhagavad-gita, there are analogies which Srila Prabhupada himself has created to explain concepts. So Prabhupada gives, many times Prabhupada starts by saying just like this, just like that. That's an example, that's an analogy that Prabhupada is using. So what we will do here is, we will try to study the analogies in the first 6 chapters today, okay, and try to understand the application, why these analogies have been used, and how do we, what is its importance and significance, we will try to see. So there are about 20 analogies, 18 to 20 analogies in the first 6 chapters. So let us see the first shloka. Shall we all repeat the shloka also?
Yes.
Shri Bhagavanuvacha Ashocyananvashocastvam Prajnavadamscha bhashase Gatasumscha Nanushocanti panditaha. The Blessed Lord said, while speaking learned words, you are mouthing for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor the dead. So here, 2.11. This is the first shloka which Krishna speaks immediately after Arjuna surrenders to Krishna, asking him to accept him as his disciple. First thing that the spiritual master does is he chastises the disciple. Chastisement means finding out the mistake in the disciple. So when the spiritual master chastises the disciple, it is meant for his benefit. Right? Otherwise, how will we know? Where are we wrong? So first chapter entirely Arjuna was talking learned words. He was talking about the consequences of the war. What will happen because of this war? But Krishna is saying, while speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. You are lamenting. But whatever you are lamenting for, it is not worthy of lamentation. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor for the dead. Now in this, what is the analogy here? Arjuna is compared to what?
Unlearned.
Yeah, foolish man. Krishna is saying, Arjuna, indirectly he is saying, see what he is saying, see, you are talking like a learned scholar, but you are lamenting for something which is not worthy of lamentation. Those who are really wise don't do like this. That means indirectly Krishna is saying, you are not wise, you are a foolish person. So here Arjuna is compared to a person who is not wise. And what is the common feature between Arjuna and the unwise people? They lament for something which is not worthy of grief, not worthy of lamentation. So please fill the table. So the main object is Arjuna. He is compared to an unwise man by Krishna. And why? What is the common feature? Because both are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. See, from this we understand, if you want to be wise, according to the shloka, what you should not do?
Should not lament for worthy of lamentation.
What was Arjuna lamenting for?
His family.
Yeah, his family members. So Krishna is saying, this is not a symptom of a wise man. Because you are lamenting for their bodies. And the bodies are anyway going to die one day. Or are you lamenting for the soul? Still you are foolish, because soul is anyway eternal. So neither you should lament for the soul, nor you should lament for the body. In both cases, those who lament for either the body or the soul, they are not wise. Okay, let's go to the second one, 2.14, 14th shloka of the second chapter. Matra sparshastu kaunteya Shitoshna sukha dukkhada Agama payino nitya Tam stitikshasva bharata. O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception, O Sian of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. So here, what is the main object? Happiness and distress. And they are compared to what?
Winter and
Seasons, seasonal changes, winter and summer seasons. What is the common feature between the two? Both are not permanent and both appear because of sense perception. Summer and winter, how do we understand the summer? It is very hot. My body is sensing that it is hot. And when do you say it is winter? My body is sensing that it is cold. So it is a result of sense perception. In the same way, happiness and distress are also because of sense perception. Matra sparshaha. Sparsha means touch. So when the senses, when the body comes in touch with a certain condition in weather, we say it is pleasant weather, we say it is unpleasant weather. It is all the reading of the mind and the perception of the senses. See, from this shloka, we understand the so-called happiness which we are always running behind in this material world, it is simply because of sense perception. And also it is anitya, it is temporary, just like summer and winter season. When it is summer, we say, oh, it is so hot, so hot. When this winter will come, when this winter will come. When winter comes, we say, oh, it is so cold, it is so cold. When the sun will again shine brightly. Isn't it? We all say like this, no? That means we are not happy in any given situation. Both summer and winter is intolerable. In the same way, that means it is, even though it is intolerable, after summer, winter has to come, after winter, summer has to come. Nothing is permanent. That is why anityaha. It is not nitya, it is not permanent. You see how such a big philosophical concept, Krishna has explained it through summer and winter season. So nice. We all experience summer and winter season. So Krishna is comparing our happiness and disappearance, happiness and distress, their appearance and disappearance are like appearance and disappearance of summer and winter season. You should not get disturbed. Whether it is summer or winter, we should continue our devotional service. In the same way, whether you are in a happy situation or a distressful situation, you should not get disturbed, you should continue. You should learn to tolerate, Krishna says. Tam stitikshasva. How do we tolerate summer season? How do we tolerate summer season? By using cooler, by drinking some cool drinks, or by wearing thin cotton clothes, right? We are not sitting inside the house, no? That because it is summer, I will not do any work. We are not sitting. We have adapted ourselves. We are tolerating the summer by making certain adaptations in our dressing habits, in our food habits, like that. If it is winter also, how do we tolerate? By wearing warm clothes, by drinking some, hot badam milk. You can drink. It will give you some heat in the body. Example I am giving. So, you are continuing your material duties. You are not stopping because it is winter. You are not shutting down. Industries are not shutting down. People have learned how to tolerate, how to adapt. In the same way, in our material existence also, happy situations will come, distressful situations will come. You should not get disturbed. You should learn to tolerate. How to tolerate? By cultivating spiritual knowledge. When we cultivate spiritual knowledge, develop a spiritual outlook, you will not get carried away by either happiness or distress. Right? That is what Krishna is saying here. Next, second chapter, 22nd shloka. Vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya.
Vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya.
Navani grihnati naroparani.
Navani grihnati naroparani.
Tatha sharirani vihaya jirnani.
Tatha sharirani vihaya jirnani.
Anyani samyati navani dehi.
Anyani samyati navani dehi.
As a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, similarly the soul accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. So how Krishna has changed the perception of death to change of clothes. How Krishna has changed our fear of death. Death is a very big thing, for people. They become very afraid even to think about death. But Krishna is saying, no, nothing. It is just like change of dress. Such a big fear Krishna has reduced it to almost zero. If you change your dress, do you cry? Do you feel bad? Oh, today I was wearing blue kurta. Oh, I have to give up this. Tomorrow I have to wear white kurta. Oh, no, we don't feel, no. So Krishna is saying, for the soul, your body is a dress only. You give up the old dress and wear new dress. In the same way, soul gives up old and useless bodies and accepts new bodies. This is called death. So simple. For that, why are you so much crying, lamenting, Arjuna? You see? So this is the beauty of analogy. So difficult concept, such a complex philosophical point. If you tell somebody, suppose there is no analogy. We simply say, death is there, body is getting changed, that's all. Death means now you have this body, next you will change another body, that's all death. It may not strike a person so much. But here analogy is given. See, today you are wearing this dress, you will change to another dress tomorrow. In the same way, body is also going to change another dress called body. Soul is also going to change another dress called another body. Why are you lamenting so much? So this is the power of analogy. So difficult, complex concept has been reduced to very simple, easily understandable and relatable thing. Changing dress is relatable to all of us because every day we are changing dresses. So what is the main object here?
Garments and person.
New garments, old garments.
Person and garments. Compared to soul and body. In the same order you should write. You should not change the order. Person is soul. Garments is body. What is the common feature?
Changeable and...
Person changes clothes. Soul changes body. That's all. Changes. Changing is the common feature. Whenever you give analogy, there should be at least one common feature between the two things which you are comparing. Then only analogy makes sense, it strikes. Okay, 46th shloka in the second chapter. Yavanartha udapane sarvatah samplutodake tavan sarveshu vedeshu brahmanasya vijanatah. All purposes that are served by the small pond can at once be served by the great reservoirs of water. Similarly, all the purposes of the Vedas can be served to one who knows the purposes behind them. What is the main object here? Vedas. And they are compared to small pond and great reservoirs of water. What is the common feature?
Service can be filled, can be known.
We can obtain the purpose, obtain use. See, Prabhupada writes in the purport, if you read the purport to the shloka, in the olden days in India, there were different wells designated in villages for different purposes. Some wells were used for drinking water only. Some wells were reserved for washing clothes. Some wells were reserved for irrigation purpose. Each well was designated for a different purpose. Okay. Now, if you go to a big water body like a river, you can do all in the river. You can drink water also because it's flowing water. You can wash your vessels, wash your clothes also. You can use it for irrigation also. So each well has limited utility, but bigger reservoir of water has multiple purposes, multi-purpose utility. In the same way, Vedas have got multiple purposes. Okay. Only one who knows the purpose behind the Vedas can understand, can apply, can take benefit from the Vedas. Some people think Vedas are meant only to perform rituals and go to the heavenly planets and enjoy pleasures there. But that's a limited utility. That's not the actual purpose. In the Bhagavad-gita, later on in the 15th chapter, Krishna reveals the actual purpose of the Vedas. What is that?
Knowing.
Yeah. Vedaischa sarvaihi ahameva vedyam. Krishna says, the purpose of studying all the Vedas is to know me, to know Krishna. So, one can derive the benefits of the Vedas if one knows the real purpose from the Vedas. Correct? So nowadays, people are trying to prove that, Vedas are great science. In Vedas, you will find metallurgy, you will find astronomy, astrology, you will find so many things. That is all true. But while trying to take out so many material benefits, like some people conduct management principles from Bhagavad-gita. They do courses. Now one thing to appreciate is at least they are trying to read Bhagavad-gita to at least know management lessons. But is that the actual purpose of studying Bhagavad-gita? No. That is just a side effect. The main purpose is to know Krishna and to surrender unto Krishna. So, by studying the Vedas for so many material reasons, they are reducing the utility of the Vedas. Just like small pond can only serve small purposes, but large reservoirs of water can serve greater purposes. And Prabhupada gives one analogy in this connection. What is that? Anyone knows? Suppose you have 1 rupee challenge, 5 rupees challenge, 500 rupees challenge. We all have different levels of monetary challenges, no? But if I give you 1 lakh rupees, at once all the 1 rupee challenge, 5 rupee challenge, 20 rupees challenge, 1000 rupees challenge are all solved. Because all this is included in 1 lakh rupees. So Srila Prabhupada said, Krishna consciousness is the panacea for all problems. Panacea means what? Ultimate solution, ultimate cure, ultimate medicine. So right now we are having mental problems, bodily problems, economic problems, this problem, that problem. But all of this, if you want to separately solve, that is one way of solving it. There is no guarantee whether it will be solved. But if you simply awaken your Krishna consciousness, at once all these problems can be addressed. So Prabhupada said Krishna consciousness is the panacea, ultimate medicine for all problems. So what is the main object here? Vedas compared to small pond and great reservoirs of water. And what is a common feature? Utility. Utility, limited versus multi-purpose. Okay, 58th shloka. Yada samharate chayam kurmonganiva sarvashaha indriyani indriyatebhyas tasya prajna pratisthita. One who is able to withdraw his senses from sense objects, as the tortoise draws its limbs within the shell, is to be understood as truly situated in knowledge. Now you see, sense control, such a very difficult topic. Krishna is giving an example to make us understand. We should be like a tortoise, Krishna is saying. What does a tortoise do? Whenever it finds danger, it immediately withdraws its head and its limbs into the shell. Correct? And at once it is safe now. The moment it withdraws, it is safe because the shell is very strong. It acts like a protective armor. So Krishna is saying, who is a Sthita Prajna? Arjuna's question was, who is a Sthita Prajna? What are his symptoms? And in the answer, Krishna is giving this example of tortoise. Sthita Prajna is like a tortoise. What does he do? He knows when to use his senses and when to withdraw his senses. Like a tortoise. So tortoise is not foolish. Even though danger is there, I will go and meddle it. But we are more foolish than a tortoise. Sense objects are there. Sense pleasures are traps. Instead, when you find a sense pleasure, immediately we should withdraw our senses. Instead of doing that, we are nicely playing with that and we get trapped. So that means we should learn from a tortoise. If you want to become a sense controller, learn from tortoise. See, one important thing is Bhagavad-gita is not saying you stop all sense objects. That is not the learning from this shloka. Senses must be used when, as and when required. If it is favorable, I will release my senses. If it is unfavorable for bhakti, I will withdraw my senses, like the tortoise. Now, what is the shell for us? Tortoise has a shell. What is our shell?
Association.
Yeah, our shell is association of devotees, our sadhana. These two are our strong shells. If these two are not there, where to withdraw? Where will you keep the senses inside? That means withdrawing means engaging the senses in non-material process. These two, sadhana, service and association of devotees, should be our constant engagement. If we are engaged, if our senses are absorbed in this, then there is no threat from Maya, from sense objects. See, such a nice analogy. No? Each analogy we can talk about in 1 hour, 2 hours we can talk about. So much learning is there, isn't it? So what is the main object? Persons and senses. Compared to tortoise and its limbs. So senses are limbs here. Person is tortoise. What is a common feature? Withdrawal. Okay, next. 2.67. Indriyanam hi charatam yanmano vidhiyate tadasya harti prajnam vayurnavam ivambhasi. One easy way to find out whether there is a comparison, analogy in shloka is if you find the word iva, then you know this verse is talking about some comparison. All the shlokas may not have, but most of them have. As a boat on the water is swept away by a strong wind, even one of the senses on which the mind focuses can carry away a man's intelligence. So here another example here. So here, this also is talking about sense control only. This shloka is also talking about sense control. What happens if you don't control your senses? What happens? Krishna is saying, boat on the water is swept away by a strong wind. In the same way, even one of the senses on which the mind focuses can carry away a man's intelligence. Harati prajnam. Prajna means intelligence. So, what is the main object?
Intelligence.
Man's intelligence.
Boat
is man's intelligence.
Boat is man's intelligence. What is wind?
Senses.
Sense pleasures. The wind of sense pleasure is blowing, and the mind is focusing on that sense pleasure. Then what is happening? It is getting carried away. What is getting carried away? Intelligence of that person is getting carried away. What is a common feature here? Getting carried away. So, boat is there, but if there is a strong wind, it gets carried away. We use this word very commonly. We say, don't get carried away. We say. So we get carried away very easily. Why?
Sense engagement.
Because mind is not fixed on Krishna. Mind is fixed on the senses, sense pleasure. That's why easily we get carried away. There are so many winds are blowing. The winds of Instagram reels is a wind. In the wind of Instagram, we may get carried away and forget our purpose in life. That is why Krishna is saying, if the mind is focusing on any of the senses, his intelligence will be carried away. That means what do we understand? Mind should not focus on the senses, sense pleasure. then where should the mind be focused on?
Krishna's
That Krishna is saying himself, Man mana, mat manaha. You focus on me. Your mind should be focused on me, not on your sense pleasures. So we should keep checking ourselves. Where is my mind focused now? Is the mind focused on Krishna or is it focused on the senses? Even while we are doing service also, we should keep checking. Is the mind focused on Krishna, pleasing Guru and Krishna? Or is the mind focused on, see, I should get good name that I have done this such a good service. So you are fueling your ego, sense pleasures. You will get carried away. So therefore, focusing on the Lord, focusing on pleasing Guru and Krishna should be the solution. Another next analogy, very beautiful. Apuryamanam achala pratishtham samudramapah pravishanti yadvat tadvat kamayam pravishanti sarve sashanti mapnoti na kama kami. A person who is not disturbed by the incessant flow of desires that enter like rivers into the ocean, which is ever being filled but is always still, can alone achieve peace, and not the man who strives to satisfy such desires. So here, what is the main object?
Flow of desires. Flow of desires.
Into the mind. Flow of desires into the mind. Okay. What is it compared to?
Rivers into ocean.
Flow of rivers into the ocean. Correct? Flow of rivers into the ocean. What is a common feature?
River enters.
As river enters into the ocean, desires flow into the person, into the mind of the person. So main object is,
Desires flow into the person.
no, don't have to say what is flowing, that comes in the common feature. Main object is what? River, desires and mind. Compared to river and ocean. So oceans, we don't see oceans flooding. Only rivers flood. Oceans don't flood. Only if there is a tsunami, earthquake at the bottom of the ocean floor, then the water of the ocean comes out. But otherwise, normally the oceans do not flood. It is the rivers which flood. So, from ocean, what do we learn? Ocean is deep, vast, it is yet calm. That's why we always, if you want to compare the height of a place, we always take height with respect to the sea level. Because sea level is almost common, constant. It will not change. That's why it is taken as a way of measuring the height of a place. Oh, with respect to the sea level, Bangalore is thousands of feet high, we say. Correct? So, Krishna is saying, constantly rivers are entering into the ocean, but ocean is calm. Like that, a Sthita Prajna, a person who is situated in transcendental platform, even though there is constant entry of desires, he will not get agitated. This is what we practically do during chanting. When we say, no, while chanting, chant and hear, don't do anything else. Even if thoughts come, don't pay attention. Thoughts plus attention becomes thinking. We should not do active thinking. How to not indulge in active thinking? By not paying attention. Thoughts may come and go, let it come and go. Like river is flowing into the ocean, let it keep. But you don't pay attention. The moment you pay attention, then your attention will go away from chanting. Correct, no? So therefore Krishna is saying you should be like ocean. Even though it is constantly being filled up with water from so many rivers, it is always calm and composed. Right? When will that happen? when our minds are fixed in Krishna's service, right? When we think that fulfilling the goal of, fulfilling each desire that the mind is proposing is the goal of life, then we get crazy. Mind's work is sankalpa vikalpa. It keeps proposing, it keeps rejecting. You don't get bothered. Just like so many people may knock at your door. So many, marketing executives, sometimes they keep coming, knocking. We have this product, we have that, like this. So will you entertain everybody with a red carpet welcome and ask them to sit in your house? Yeah, come, I was waiting for you only. Oh, you didn't come, please come. No. Sometimes we don't even bother. We'll say, we have it, thank you. We'll send him up there only. Isn't it? Like that, every desire is like a marketing executive knocking at your door. You don't have to entertain every desire. This is the principle of Sharanagati. What is that? First two principle. What is favorable for bhakti, you entertain. Welcome it, keep it inside your house. What is unfavorable, there only you should say Tata bye-bye. What is unfavorable, we should reject. What is favorable for bhakti, we should entertain. This discrimination is important. Next, we are entering the third chapter. Ishtan bhogan hi vo deva dasyante yajna bhavitaha tair dattana pradayebhyo yo bhungte stena eva saha. In charge of the various necessities of life, the demigods, being satisfied by the performance of yajna, supply all necessities to man. But he who enjoys these gifts without offering them to the demigods in return is certainly a thief. So who is the main object here?
Man.
What man?
Correct.
A man who performs no sacrifice. He is compared to thief. What is a common feature between thief and the man who performs no sacrifice?
They take necessary supply but they don't return.
They only are taking parties, no giving. Correct? So Krishna is saying there is a subtle yajna cycle Krishna talks about in the third chapter of the Bhagavad-gita. So by performance of yajna, the Supreme Lord is satisfied. If the Supreme Lord is satisfied, his parts and parcels, all the devatas are satisfied. Then the devatas supply the necessities of life for the human beings. Then the human beings can live happily, peacefully. So by performance of yajna alone, one can attain material prosperity. That is what is the lesson here. And if one simply takes the gifts of nature without performance of yajna, he is compared to a thief. So we should not be thief. 13th shloka. Yajna shishta shinas santo muchyante sarva kilbishaihi bhunjate te tvagham papa epachantyatma karanat. The devotees of the Lord are released from all kinds of sins because they eat food which is offered first for sacrifice. Others who prepare food for personal sense enjoyment verily eat only sin. So what is the main object?
Food.
Food which is
Unoffered.
unoffered. That is compared to sin. What is the common feature in both?
As it is not offered for sacrifice,
Mm.
it is sin.
Suffering is the common feature. If you perform sin also you will suffer, and if you don't follow the standard process of offering food, then also there is suffering. 38th shloka.
May I ask one question?
Later. Dhumena vriyate vahne yatha darsho malena cha yathol vruto garbha tatha tene damavrutam. The fire is covered by smoke, as a fire is covered by smoke, as a mirror is covered by dust, or as the embryo is covered by the womb. Similarly, the living entity is covered by different degrees of this lust. So Krishna is talking about 3 degrees. Fire covered by smoke. What are the 3 main objects? Different degrees of lust. How it covers the living entities. What are the 3 things? Fire covered by smoke, mirror covered by dust, embryo covered by the womb. Now each of this is progressively thicker covering, isn't it? Fire covered by smoke means what? Smoke is there, but still fire you can see also. It's not fully covering. That means least covering. Sattva guna it is. And mirror covered by dust is what? It is like not fully clear. You are able to see something, but not fully clear face. You are able to see in the mirror because of the dust. That is Rajoguna. And deep covering is what? Embryo covered by the womb. You cannot see the embryo at all, fully covered. So 3 ways in which the lust covers the living entity, its intelligence. So common feature is sattva. Three levels of covering. Covering is the common. So when we are in sattva guna, we are least covered. Rajoguna, moderately covered. And tamo guna, most covered. That's why sattva guna is favorable for bhakti. You are able to see the smoke is also there, fire is also there. You are able to see that. Text 36, 4th chapter. Api chedasi papebhyah sarvebhyah papakrittamaha sarvam jnana plavenaiva vrijinam santarishyasi. Even if you are considered to be the most sinful of all sinners, when you are situated in the boat of transcendental knowledge, you will be able to cross over the ocean of miseries. What is the main object?
Sinner.
Transcendental knowledge is compared to boat. And what is the result? You can cross over the ocean. With normal boat, you can cross over a normal water body. But with transcendental knowledge, you can cross over the ocean of miseries. So this is a very nice plava. Plava means boat. Jnana plava, the boat of transcendental knowledge. So we should all sit in which boat? Boat of transcendental knowledge. What will happen? Even if you are even if you are sinful. Why? Because this transcendental knowledge, what does it do? That is mentioned in the next shloka. Even if somebody is sinner, if he somehow has this transcendental knowledge, what will happen to him? Let us see. Yathaidhamsi samidhogne bhasmasat kurute arjuna jnanagni sarva karmani bhasmasat kurute tatha. As the blazing fire turns firewood to ashes, O Arjuna, so does the fire of knowledge burn to ashes all reactions to material activities. So, even if somebody is sinful, somehow he is in the shelter of Krishna consciousness, he will actually be able to cross over. Why? Because this Jnana Agni, the blazing fire of transcendental knowledge, will burn to ashes all reactions to material activities. So, what is the main object here?
Fire of knowledge.
Knowledge and
All
material reactions. Knowledge and reactions. Knowledge is compared to blazing fire, and
Firewood is compared to material.
firewood is compared to
Material reaction.
no material reactions. Reactions are compared to firewood. See how Krishna in one shloka is comparing knowledge to boat, in the next shloka is comparing knowledge to fire. Right? See, knowledge, what does it do in our life? We have no idea. But if you take the example, boat, if I sit in the boat, I can cross over. So if I take up this knowledge of Bhagavad-gita, I can cross over. We will understand. And what does fire do? We know. Fire will burn everything to ashes. So this knowledge of fire, if I develop, the reactions of my past activities will be burned. That is the power of analogies. Next 42nd shloka. Tasmadajnana sambhutam hristham jnanasinatmanaha chitvaivam samshayam yogam athishtotishtha bharata. Therefore, the doubts which have arisen in your heart out of ignorance should be slashed by the weapon of knowledge. Armed with yoga, O Bharata, stand and fight. So here also the analogy is about knowledge only. Main object is knowledge. It is compared to what?
Knife.
It is compared to a
Sword.
sword. Weapon. Sword.
Weapon of power.
Yes. So knowledge is the main object compared to weapon. Asinaha. Asina in Sanskrit means sword. You sword. You cut. Right? So knowledge is used to slash the doubts within the heart arisen out of ignorance. See, same chapter, knowledge is compared to three things. First to a boat, second to a fire, third is sword. So if you have one knowledge, three things you can do with the knowledge of transcendental science Krishna is giving. 5th chapter, verse number 10. Brahmanyadhaya karmani sangam tyaktva karoti yaha lipyatena sapapena padmapatra ivambhasa. One who performs his duty without attachment, surrendering the results unto the Supreme Lord, is not affected by sinful reaction, as the lotus leaf is untouched by water. So what is the main object? Person performing duty with detachment. He is compared to what?
Lotus leaf untouched by water.
Lotus leaf untouched by water. What is a common feature?
Untouched.
Untouched. So a person who is doing duty with detachment, he is not touched by the results of his actions. Just like this lotus leaf, even though it is growing in water, it is not touched by water. So this is the principle of Yukta Vairagya. So the Mayavadis say that you should not do any action, any work in this material world. You should give up everything. Everything is Maya. Right? But the Vaishnava Acharyas, based on this shloka, we are saying that the knowledge, with transcendental knowledge, for the pleasure of the Lord, a devotee can engage in all kinds of activities, but in a spirit of detachment. We have to do work for Krishna. Then even though we are interacting with material energies, we will not be contaminated. Just like a lotus Padma Patram, lotus leaf, is not touched by water, even though it is present in water. So we have to perform our duty with detachment and surrendering our results to Krishna. Very beautiful analogy that is. 13th shloka of the 5th chapter. Sarva karmani manasa sanyasyaste sukham vashi navadvare pure dehi naiva kurvanna karayan. When the embodied living being controls his nature and mentally renounces all actions, he resides happily in the city of 9 gates, the material body, neither working nor causing work to be done. So each one of us is a resident of Navadvara Pura. We are living in Navadvara Pura. That is our current address. Pura means city. Navadvara means 9 gates. The city of 9 gates we are all living in. Which is the city of 9 gates? Our body. 2 eyes, 2 ears, nostrils, mouth, and 2 openings downwards south. So totally there are 9 openings. Right? If you read this book, if you read this Bhagavatam, 6th canto, Puranjana story. So there also it is very nicely explained. This. So Krishna is, what is the main object here? Body. It is compared to what?
City of 9 gates.
City of 9 gates. What is the common feature? Openings. These openings are the ones through which we interact with the material world, right? The senses. How does enemy enter into the city? Gates only. And these are the 9 gates we are having. Sense objects. We are so interested to explore this world through our sense objects, right? So Krishna is saying, if we can control our nature and mentally renounce all actions. That means you don't physically renounce action. You perform the action but mentally renounce. Be detached from the outcome. Then you can happily live in this city of 9 gates. 5.16 Jnanena tu tadajnanam yesham nashitam atmanah tesham adityavajnanam prakashayati tatparam. When, however, one is enlightened with the knowledge by which nescience is destroyed, then his knowledge reveals everything as the sun lights up everything in the daytime. What is the main object? Knowledge. Compared to sun. Common feature?
Destroys ignition.
Destroys nescience and lights up everything. So, knowledge is compared to the sun. So, if one has sun in the sky, there is no question of darkness. In the same way, if one cultivates the knowledge of Krishna consciousness, there is no question of ignorance. Correct? So sometimes we see great acharyas, like for example Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. He is an illiterate, can't read and write. But is he ignorant? No, he is enlightened soul. So the understanding is, if one has this Krishna consciousness in his life, the transcendental knowledge, materially one may be illiterate, but one is never ignorant. So that's why you should always keep the sun of Krishna always up and blazing forth in your consciousness. Then there is no question of illusion. Krishna Surya Sama Maya Haya Andhakar. Chaitanya Charitamrita says, Krishna is like the sun, Maya is the darkness. Wherever there is darkness, wherever there is sun, there cannot be darkness. In the same way, wherever there is Krishna, his devotional service, there cannot be influence of Maya. 6.19 Yatha Deepo Nivatastho Nengate Sopama Smrita Yogino Yata Chittasya Yunjato Yogamatmanaha. As a lamp in a windless place does not waver, so the transcendentalist whose mind is controlled remains always steady in his meditation on the transcendent self. What is the main object?
Controlled mind.
A transcendentalist whose mind is controlled. He is compared to lamp in a windless place. What is the common feature?
Steady.
They remain steady, they do not waver. So just see such a beautiful example, no? We have lit many lamps during Kartik month, right? If you keep it in the open space where wind is blowing, what will happen? If the wind is slowly blowing, it will also start dancing. The flame will start dancing. It is not steady. If it is too fast, it is blowing, it will put off immediately, extinguishes the flame. Correct? Now in the same, but if you keep it in a place which is free from the influence of Nivata. Vata means air, wind. Nivata means without the influence of wind. What will happen? The flame will, it will not shake. It will steadily it will keep glowing, burning, isn't it? Have you seen?
Yes.
Yeah. So in the same way, what we should do now to control our senses, we should not go to a windy place. What is that wind? Where there is wind of sense pleasures blowing. Reels. Reels are blowing. Then
Work pressure.
so many things, there are so many winds are blowing. So if you want to remain steady in your Krishna consciousness, first thing is you should select a suitable environment. Windless place you should choose. You should not say, no, I am very determined, I am very steady. I will go there. In the kingdom of Maya I will go and deliver Maya. No, that only Haridas Thakur and such devotees can do. So what will happen to us? Just like Saubhari Muni. Saubhari Muni was a great yogi. He thought, if I sit on the floor, on the land, and if I meditate, I'll get agitated, so many distractions. So I will use my tapas shakti, control of breath. I will go into the Yamuna river, sit there and do meditation. So he went there. But what did he see there? He saw a female and a male fish mating. And just by seeing that, he got agitated. Oh, Krishna, what happened? He gave up his meditation. And so, the point is, you should choose a windless place. To chant Hare Krishna, you should choose a suitable place. Not that I'll keep watching TV also, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna. No. So much unfavorable wind is blowing. Your Hare Krishna will also get gone away. So you should choose a proper place. That's very important. Then you can attain control of the mind steady. 6.34. Oh. Chanchalam hi mana Krishna Pramadhi balavadhrudam Tasyaham nigraham manye Vayoriva sadushkaram Vayoriva sudushkaram. For the mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate and very strong, O Krishna, and to subdue it seems to be more difficult than controlling the wind. What is the main object? Mind compared to wind. So what is the common feature? Both are difficult to control. Right? In fact, Krishna is saying it is more difficult. Arjuna is saying, I can control the wind, but mind is concerned, I cannot control. Very difficult. And he is giving four qualities of the mind. Restless, chanchalam, it's not in one place. Turbulent. Turbulent means what? Disturbed always. Obstinate means what? Once it accepts something, very difficult to give up. Obstinate. And very strong. Strong. Not easy to conquer. These are the four qualities of the mind. And because of this, please come. Please come. Because of this, mind is very difficult to control. Call all of them and make them sit. Last shloka. Kachinno bhaya vibhrashtaha Chinnabhram iva nashyati Apratishto mahabaho Vimudho brahmana pathi. Pathi, it is not pati. Pati means master. Pathi means one who is going on a particular path. He is called Pathi. O mighty armed Krishna, does not such a man, being deviated from the path of transcendence, perish like a riven cloud with no position in any sphere? Arjuna is asking this question. He is asking what happens to a yogi who fails. That's the context. What is the main object here?
Man deviated from transcendence.
Yeah, a man deviated from the path of transcendence. He is compared to a riven cloud. Riven cloud means, you know what?
The cloud which gets
Scattered cloud.
Blown off. If clouds are all together, then they are strong. But if, let's say, some cloud goes away, on its own, it will just keep carried away by the wind. Right? So, Arjuna is asking, what happens to a person who has got deviated from the path of transcendence? Does he become like a riven cloud? who has no position in any sphere? Right? That is the question. And Krishna answers this. What does he say?
You continue.
Yeah, he will get again opportunities. In the next life, he will be born Shuchinam Srimata Gehi. So these are the analogies in the first 6 chapters of Bhagavad-gita. So I want all of you to learn this. Next week, I'm going to ask you a quiz on this. I'm going to ask you in what is compared to what, and you have to explain me which shloka, all that. So will you learn and come? Hari Bol means what?
Yes.
Yes, no? Okay.
You should know the shlokas.
You should know the shlokas. You should know what is compared to what in each shloka. So it's a nice way to learn the shlokas. Okay? So you had something to ask?
Yes, Prabhu. In that 3.13,
Hmm.
Jate de Agam Papam.
Yeah.
There, earlier I was thinking that this eating a food which is not offered, it is itself a sin.
Mm.
But is the understanding, it is not a sin, but it is like a sin. The effects of a sin which has on a person, the similar effect will be because of unoffered food a person gets. So
Verily eats only sin.
he is eating sin, or the effect
He is
is
eating
like a
sin.
So in that case, it will not be a comparison. It will be a
You see, that's what I wanted to tell you. There are different kinds of comparisons. Okay, simile, metaphor, personification. Like this, we have many in English. In Sanskrit also it is there. Now here, Krishna is saying, Bhunjate te tvagam papa e pachanti atma karana. Here Krishna is using a metaphor. Krishna is saying, one who eats food which is not offered, he is eating sin. Krishna is not saying that the food which is not offered is like sin. Eva, whenever the word Eva comes, it is simile, upama alankara. But here it is rupaka, metaphor. So Krishna is saying, if you don't eat food which is offered to Krishna, if you eat food which is not offered to Krishna, it is eating sin only. It is sin, sinful. No, but we should understand philosophically, what is the meaning of sin? Any activity which displeases Krishna is called sin. Any activity which is displeasing Krishna, that is called sinful activity. Krishna is not happy when you do that work, then it is called sinful activity. Now Krishna is telling you should offer food to me and then eat. This pleases me and you will also be safe. Now when you don't follow this, you are displeasing Krishna. Therefore it is sin. Understood? So any activity which is displeasing, which is not pleasing Krishna, which is aimed at personal enjoyment, it is all called sin. So therefore it is sin only. It's not compared to sin, it is only sin. Yes, Pa.
Like in that example where the tortoise limbs, he takes it inside his shell, you told that we should have favorable situation and we should use our senses in that particular way. So does that mean that we should not enter inside that place, or sometimes there might be a situation we have to be at that place but we have to withdraw our senses? What does withdrawing our senses mean in like practical sense? Let's say I'm in any area. So should I, if it's not favorable, should I exit that place, or if it's necessary I should be there and try to control myself?
To what extent it is required to interact with non-devotional elements? We should see that. Secondly, to what extent I am strong that even though I interact, I don't get affected. These two considerations are always there. Suppose now Prabhupada said you should go to materialistic people and preach to them. Let's say you go to preach to book distribution. Okay. Now, let's say they call you to their house. They're very happy to see a devotee. They call you and they say, I'll buy your books. Please eat. We have made some nice pakoda in our house. It is nice. It is, cold season or some rain is coming. Hot, garam pakoda we are making. Please take. Right? So then what will you tell? Oh, this person will buy my Bhagavad-gita. So let me eat pakoda. No, you will not do that. It is not prasadam. You will ask him, have you offered it? No, I have not offered. Then you say, I don't take prasadam. I take only prasadam. I don't take non-prasadam. You will say that, right? That means you have that shell. What is the shell in this case? My vow to take only prasadam. That is the shell into which you have to immediately withdraw. You cannot justify, Mind will say, oh, maybe if I eat pakoras, 2 more books he will eat. He will take. No, we should not do, at that cost we should not do bhakti. Prabhupada will not be pleased. First we should protect ourselves. That is what the kurma, the tortoise analogy is saying. Protect yourself. Now pure devotee may go and take food from a non-devotee's house. Pure devotee. For him, he will not get affected. Okay? But he will not do it generally because he wants to instruct everybody. But he will not do it. But even if he takes, he will not get affected. So therefore 2 considerations are there. One is how strong I am. Second is to what extent I can go and associate. Right? If somebody says, suppose you're going for book distribution in some PG and he invites you into your room, okay, and he starts revealing some dark things about his life, and by hearing that you are getting agitated, then you should say, thank you, please read this book, you will understand everything, and you should nikal jana, others say. No, tell me full details, scene by scene you tell me what happened. No, it is not good for us. You went there to give association, you are getting association from him. So this is not the way. Understood, no? So 2 considerations. How much I should interact, to what degree I should associate. Secondly, how strong I am in my conviction, in my practice. Based on these 2, we should take a call. So we'll close here. Granthara Srimad Bhagavad-gita ki jai, Vishwa Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. So please learn these and come for the next session. 4+ devotees come front.